This is 22 Nonprofits in 22 Days, brought to you by Operation Intel Veteran Stories.
There we go. Microphone cam unplugged. What is going on, everybody? Casey, I am so glad to see that Mac has the next few days off to drive you absolutely insane. Anyways, guys, welcome to 22 Nonprofits in 22 Days, brought to you by Operation Intel Veteran Stories. Is it really loud? Here, let me turn it down. I had to turn it up for the video I did today. Sorry, guys. But welcome to Operation Intel Veteran Stories, 22 Nonprofits in 22 Days. Day number 8. We have 7 down. Last night we had... To be honest with you, it was a great conversation with Michelle, and I was impressed. The way she thought outside the box was amazing. Go ahead and hit that share button, everybody. We have a good one for you tonight, coming from Texas. If you are new here, and I do this a lot, I want to make sure those people in the chat that are new here understand what we are doing and understand where this came from. You know, I started Operation Intel Veteran Stories as a way to talk to other veterans because of the way that I was feeling. And the way that I was feeling was isolated, depressed, anything and everything, you know, all the rest of you veterans are feeling. So I started doing sit-down interviews with a lot of the guys that I deployed with. And what I noticed was after I got done talking to them, I felt better. And I know because they told me they felt a lot better as well. And it became one of those things where more and more of the guys were saying, you know, I want to come on the show and I want to do an interview. After about a month, we started a group chat inside of Facebook. And we added all the guys that I hadn't talked to, hadn't seen, hadn't communicated with in over 20 years. And I still remember, and I don't know if you guys in the chat remember this, but the first night we did a video call. And I came onto the screen, to the video chat, and I just seen all these faces that may have looked a bit older. I know I still look young, okay? You don't have to tell me. I get it. I understand. But we had faces in there like Chris Lyon, who is going gray now, right? In all actuality, it was great seeing their faces again, but it was the voices that you always remember. And I just had to take a step back and just smile because it just felt amazing to be talking to these guys again. So I wanted to do more and came up with an idea of doing a live show called The Rally Point on Sunday nights. Just to be more of a community. I wanted everybody to feel the same way that this group made me feel. And the Rally Point has been going on for, I don't know, maybe 5 months now, I want to say. Something like that. And I look forward to it. And what you don't understand is Sunday nights were used to be the hardest night of the week for me because my kids go to their mom's house on Sunday nights. And the show helped me out a lot. So we did this for, 5-6 months. And, we came up with the idea of 22 nonprofits by spotlighting some of these nonprofits on the Rally Point. And I wanted to give these nonprofits a specific show to spotlight them because they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. They're grassroots nonprofits taking time out of their day to improve the veteran community. And it's not hard. A lot of these people still have full-time jobs. I'd venture to say 95% of them still have full-time jobs. Some of them are still parents. And they're still volunteering their time to help us out, which is absolutely amazing. So the least I could do was spotlight them. So we came up with the idea of 22 nonprofits in 22 days, and we are in day 8 of that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm absolutely loving every single bit of it. I'm absolutely loving hearing about what good is coming from these nonprofits. We've had anything from, the fishing stuff, the outdoor stuff, to Books for Boots, to Be Our Soldier Outreach, to I just the list goes on. All the good stuff that they're doing. What I believe is that we have dropped the ball somewhere in that 22 a day. And what I'm attempting to do with this platform is bring the pieces back together, the nonprofits with a platform and a community as well, so that everything is covered. I think we're on the right track. I've seen multiple new people in our chat, which is always an amazing feeling. But I think we can reduce that number 22, and I think we do it through hard work. It's not going to be easy, but we show up every single day and we say, we're not doing this anymore. And I think that that's the biggest thing that we can do for not only each other, but future generations as well. Teach them the way to do it and how not to do it. So, good. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. Is the mic coming through broken for you guys or no? While I'm getting an answer to that, what I do want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about what I did today, right? And one of the things I did today, besides being a dad, I got a hold of a nonprofit through Dennis Leonard, and that's the one that's going to be on tonight. And I pre-recorded it. And the reason why is because he wasn't available later this evening. So you're going to watch the interview that I did with him earlier on today. You guys got to stick around for this. An amazing person doing amazing things. He's a retired Marine doing great things, and that has a lot of good advice as well. And I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy this one. And just listen to what they're doing down in Texas. So, good. Thanks, guys. Okay. I'm just making sure because I had to, it comes unplugged sometimes, which is weird. But anyways, tonight's nonprofit comes to us from Texas, but it's going to be Combat Marine Outdoors. And they are doing a lot of things to help the veteran community. And what I want to do is I'm going to play the video for you. Stick around. Watch the interview. It is amazing. And then I will be back on here. I have some pictures from some of their events that they're holding. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. I know I enjoyed talking to him. So I'm going to be in the chat with you guys. If you guys have any audio problems or anything like that, this is the first time I've done this. So let me know. I'll get it fixed. Tell me to turn it up, turn it down, whatever you guys need. I'm going to be in the chat with you guys. But here's the interview. Al, for those that don't know you, can you give us a little bit of introduction into who you are and what made you be a part of Combat Marine Outdoors?
Man, okay, so just a little bit about me. My name's Al. I'm a retired Master Gunnery Sergeant from the Marine Corps. I joined 1997 in the South Texas. Just joined the Marine Corps, did my thing. Um, when I came back from Iraq in 2003, I'll never forget. I had a senior leader that was asking me questions about like, hey, because it was kind of you know how it is, when you're the first iteration to go out, you come back in, people have questions. Hey, what was it like? What did you do? What did you see? And there was guys, that were in hospitals and whatnot. And I'll never forget when he asked me, he's like, hey, who's reached out to you to see how they can help you, with, the mind, PTSD, injuries, whatever it is. And at the time I thought, man, what a novel idea. Like, because nobody had reached out,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't the era that we were in at the time. And he was like, he was taken back. And I was a young Marine, I was a sergeant at the time, and he was a master sergeant. So I remember seeing him. He was taken back, like what? Like no one's contacted you, like as if somebody was supposed to. So I went on with my career, and in 2010, I got to meet a guy in the Marine Corps that allowed me to move from Michigan active duty to Texas. I wanted to come back to Texas. Texas is the holy grail for me.
Yeah.
Living and stuff like that. It's what I know. It's just like everybody's story. Where you come from is where you love. So. When I got the opportunity to come back to Texas, I remember he explained like an unproud that he was trying to get off the ground, and he was at the point where he was getting off the ground. And at that time, again, I thought to myself, man, what a novel idea! This is just so great. You're gonna go talk to these guys that are, critically, wounded, burn victims, whatever, in hospitals, try to get them out of their element, get them to do a little something that's going to make them not forget about what happened, but no, man, like maybe cope with it just a little bit better. And I was like, man, that sounds awesome. So I was active duty at the time, and I, I thought it was a great idea or concept of operation. I thought it was awesome. And come to find out, man, 15 years later, I'm retiring. And before I retired, one of the founders, Alan Orr, he's a colonel. I reached out to him. I was taking my Marines out. I had about 40 Marines that I was taking to the outdoors. And when you're active duty, and especially in the Marine Corps, man, we do so much with so little. Like we'll go out and we'll have fun with almost damn near zero money. So
Yeah.
we're going out to this place. I'm gonna take my so I had some guys with me that were from New York, basically the Northeast, and these guys had never done anything in outdoors. They were gonna fish for the first time. I had a sergeant major who was who's my brother, man. That guy's my brother from another mother, man. Sergeant Major Cabarrus. This guy, if you want to know like a country guy that just gets down, and you can like meet him at a lake and you go catch fish, and he's like, hey, I got my fryer in the back, and I got oil, we can cook the fish right now. Like that's the type of guy he is. Well, we took our guys out, we didn't have a side by side, so I reached out to Alan Orr and said, hey man, like is there any way I could borrow a side by side? So when I take my truck down there, Alan has this big old Combat Marine Outdoors trailer, and it reminded me of the past when I had heard about it. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit, sir! I was like, this is awesome. And he's like, yeah, he's like, yeah, we're doing good. He was telling me all about the program, and I was like, man, I said, it sounds wonderful. So I borrowed his trailer, and I borrowed that little side by side. And my Marines, they used it. They went out. They were shooting at pigs and catching fish.
Causing
It was
hell,
just a
huh?
great time. Yeah, it was a great time. And I tell you a fun story though about that. So when we got there, the guy that let us do it, he's a former Marine in downtown Houston. And I'll never forget, the guy tells us, I said, "Hey sir," do you mind if we catch some fish in your pond? And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." He goes, "It's catch and release though, they're real good sized stripers." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I got Cabarrus there with me, Sergeant Major. Sergeant Major says, "Hey sir," he said, "do you mind if I, keep a fish so I could show the Marines how to fillet a fish? We'll do a PME on it." And he goes, "Yeah, that'd be great." He goes, "Yeah, you go and keep one." So I leave and I'm doing training, and Sergeant Major's got the boys, and they're catching fish, and I'm thinking they're throwing them back. And I come back and I'm talking to Sergeant Major. I said, "Hey man, did you fillet a fish?" And this is when he said, "Yeah, I got oil in the back of my truck, and I got a burner." I said, "Oh wow, really?" I said, "Well, shoot, man, we're just gonna cook up one fish." He goes, "No, man, take it out." And we go in the kitchen. They got like 10 fish lined up. I said, "Sergeant Major, we said 8 fish." He goes, "What?" He goes, "I thought we said like a couple of fish."
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm gonna tell you that command decision that he made was phenomenal for my Marines, because I remember I had the kid from New York is the one that stuck out. He had never been on a side by side in his life before, and he had never casted a fishing rod. And what that did for him that day, I was like, man, there's something about being in the outdoors that's just soothing, man. Like you don't have to have bad things going on in your life, or like in real need of it, but those therapeutic effects, they just happen. You know what I mean? And you talk about just a wonderful event. So fast forward 2 years, um, man, 2 years later, I'm retiring, and I did my retirement, and I'm sitting at my house, and I get a call, and the guy that had taken me to San Antonio, Texas, his name is Arturo Garcia. So Arturo is the other founder of Combat Marine Outdoors. And he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I just heard you're retiring, this and that." And I said, "Shoot, retirement? I'm retired. I did my ceremony or whatever already." And it was literally like 2 days later. And he goes, "Man," he goes, "Look," he goes, I wanted to ask you if you'd be willing to come on board and help us out, and and I said, "Do what?" Like, and he goes, "Just, that, we heard you're, a jack of all trades kind of guy. We want to see if you can come in and help us out, get some things off the ground." And I was like, "I'll do whatever I need to do, or whatever you need me to do, I'll do." And I feel like in life, man, there's a lot of times where you don't understand, that God puts you in certain situations, and he sets things up for you, and you just really got to take a step back and say thank you, because it's not always going to work like that. A lot of times we look at God certain ways, and I don't mean to get
No, you go right
religious,
ahead.
but man, I'm gonna tell you right now, that day when I hung up with Arturo, I told myself, I was like, damn, I don't know if I deserve this, but I'm gonna do my best with it. And come to find out, so I volunteered for like the first 4 months, and I was having a blast, man. I was taking guys out fishing, and I didn't know who was getting more therapy out of it, them or me, right? So, but I felt it, I was feeling that connection through them, and come to find out, one of Arturo's guys, he resigned. I don't know what happened. He ended up leaving the organization, and then Art brought it to me, and he said, "Hey man," he said, "we want to bring you on full time." He's like, "We really like what we're seeing." And so the rest is history, man. So it's, fast forward, three, almost, I don't know, it's been almost 4 years now, but it's been quite some time, maybe 3 years. And I just had a blast doing this. So just by chance, I landed back here, doing this, and that kind of ties us into, like, what, a little bit about me, not too much about what I did,
Yeah.
but basic, I'm just I'm a retired veteran, man, and I thank God to this day that, that I was able to be a combat veteran and be here, in full capacity to be able to talk to you, man. So
I'll tell you what. It's interesting that you said that it's weird how God puts you in certain positions and you feel lucky to be in that position, because I'll be honest with you, I never thought this show would go the way that it has and helped veterans out that are struggling. I never thought. I feel so like happy but blessed that I'm able to do this. So, you know, I understand what you're saying when it comes to that. It's an incredible feeling. But I also understand what you're saying when you say it's therapeutic to me too. Because when I'm doing interviews with these veterans and these nonprofit organizations, it helps them out. But what they don't understand is it's helping me out as well, which is a really cool feeling, man. It's an awesome feeling. Now, being down there in Texas, do you go out year round, or is it just in the summertime thing, or how do you guys do that?
Man, it's a year-round fight. So, main employees that we have for Combat Marine Outdoors, you got myself, you have Arturo. Arturo's the CEO, uh, and we also have Rudy Perez. Rudy Perez is our operations. So he basically soup to nuts gets guys on these hunts, links them up with their team leader, and then they go and they execute, whether it's a hunt or an outdoor adventure. And I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. There's some guys that you say the word hunt, they're like, oh, I don't hunt. Well, the
Yeah.
great thing about that is we have other things that we do, man. Like we go to Astros games. I know in the past
Awesome.
we used to have a really good connection with Texas A&M, College Station, the Aggies, and we would take combat vets out to their football games.
Oh
And
man.
I'm in the works of trying to get that done. Not every university is how should I say this, man? Is real keen on military guys,
Yeah, like vet
but I kind of
friendly.
feel like, yeah, there you go, vet friendly. That's a better way of putting it. I kind of feel like A&M is like that. Like they really dig us. And I got a really good friend of mine who actually owns a ranch. He is an A&M grad. He played baseball there. Combat vet, really good dude, man. Marine, got out as a gunny. Leonardo. So I'm gonna get with Leonardo, see if we can get some connections there. But there's things that we do that aren't necessarily out in the outdoors. But like right now, we're in February, leaning into March, so we're getting primed up for our fishing season,
Yeah.
and I mean right around the corner, we're already setting up all of our turkey hunts as well. So it's a year-round thing. So we just got out of duck season. We're gonna go into to turkey here in a little bit. Fishing's kind of year-round. Um, but where things really turn up is the second half of the year. Because you
Oh
got
yeah.
it starts out with dove season. Dove season is really big in South Texas. We're trying to break into dove season in down south. We try to do a lot of it last year. It's just so, man, and I'm gonna tell you like this: the hardest part about doing this is the financial constraints. And coincidentally, I I take in all the donations for the program. I pay all the bills, so I get to see where the smart guys are saying, hey, we can't really do that many hunts, guys, or we need to tone it down a little bit. It breaks my heart when we have to do that because we got 1,500 guys we want to put in the outdoors, and
Yeah.
it's costing us on average about $1,200 to put a guy in the outdoors. I shared some pictures with you of a hunt that I did in December. I did that with Alan Orr, uh, our president. So Alan Orr is our president. Uh, the great thing about Alan that he says is like he's absolutely free. He doesn't get paid, and I feel terrible. So sometimes we'll. So if you ever, what state are you in?
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, cool. So we don't do any hunts in Ohio, but we fly guys in from Ohio. But here in Texas, just south of Houston, so about an hour and a half from where I'm at, Alan Orr, my president, has Orr Tactical. So he builds guns.
Oh.
He 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 produces thousands, I'm probably millions of bullets. He's always selling bullets. It's I guess the primary source of income for him. But
Yeah.
when he says he's free, sometimes I feel bad. He's got this really big 338 Lapua. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but
I don't.
it shoots a phenomenal bullet. And this bullet is, and I'm gonna send you a picture later, man. Of I got a Marsoc Marine gunny who's holding it, and it's literally 3/4 of his size because it's got a
Oh,
huge suppressor on it. It's got a major kick. We were shooting it past a mile, and we were trying to get everybody on target, right? And boom, we would shoot the round, and it would fly down there, and you'd either hear a ding or you
oh,
didn't hear a ding, you know. And I looked at the colonel. I said, "Hey, sir," I said, "how much is the ammo for that?" And he goes, don't worry about it." And I said, "Okay." And I didn't know why he said that. It's because he's a very humble man, and all the things that he does for CMO is truly out of the kindness of his heart. Like this guy, if you want to know, like if there's someone you take a bullet for, this is the dude, you know. And so I ended up cornering him that day. I said, "Sir," I said, "how much is a bullet for that 338?" You know, because he procures his own stuff. He's, "Well, on a good day, $12. On a shitty day, 13.50." I'm like, 13.50.
woo!
So like we were
Oh,
we were there like
I already know, buddy.
everybody was shooting, yeah, everybody shooting like 15, 20 rounds each. And I'm like, and we were cooking that suppressor. So we would set the gun to the side, let it cool down, bring it back in, and you know our guys, because when we go hunting, we take about 4 veterans with us. You got 4 veterans, you got me, you got Colonel, and you got the owner and his entourage of guys. So
Yeah,
you know the least we could do for the guys that are volunteering their time to take our guys out and guide them on these like deer hunts, you know, red stag, bison, whatever it's going to be, the least you can do is, you know, bring them in and let them feel part of the family. So and they see that big old gun, they're like, "Can I shoot it?" You know, "Yeah, get in there, man." They're there
yeah.
shooting it. And once he told me 13.50, I was like, "I'm not shooting it.
No,
I'm
I'm
taking it easy
done.
on you, sir." But he truly is a great American. And so a lot of times when we're moving in the program, he's kind of our him and Art, you know, Art, they're that compass that tells us, "Hey, you know, we need to either slow down or we're gonna go full steam ahead." And we had a very good year last year as far as hunts. We so just to give you some context, when Art and Colonel first started this, they were servicing about, I would say, a handful of guys, maybe under 10, definitely under 20. And when I came along, they had a record breaking year. They had like 350
Wow.
veterans that they took out in the outdoors, and it was a pretty big deal. And so that year that I came, we took 800, and it went from 800 to 900 to 1,000. And then last year we did 1,556, something like that. So that's a lot of guys getting them in the outdoors, and so it's got to be constant stuff that we're doing all year. And
Yeah.
but things get hot and heavy. They're the middle of the year, and definitely that last quarter, you know, October, that's whitetail season. So you're talking anything from whitetail to, you know, exotics are year round. You know, you got, you know, axis, you know, oryx. You got a lot of beautiful animals here in Texas. And so the one thing that Rudy does that I think is great is we take a very keen approach to who's going to be on these hunts. You know, because that's the big thing, right? Like we want everybody to feel that goodness, man. Like we want everybody to feel like wow, man. Like I came in here on a scale from 1 to 10 with my happiness in my heart. I came in here a 3 or 4, and I'm leaving a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
And that's just recharging the battery, man. You know, like
Yeah, and you know that kind of leads into my next question for you because I've I've had interviews with a couple of the outdoors nonprofits, right, from around the country, and they all tell me the same thing about how therapeutic it is. Even Dennis Leonard. I served with Leonard. Love him to death. He's a great guy. But he talked about how nice it was to get out there and hunt and stuff like that. But what I want to know from you is, do you, somebody that is there on these hunts, can you see a difference in them when they first get there compared to when you guys are getting ready to have them leave the hunts and the events that you guys are holding? Can you see a difference in them?
so that difference, 100% you can. Like it's evident. I always every trip starts out with us, trying to do like a meet and greet. We break the ice and taking them out to dinner. And when we go out to dinner, you'll see some of them will be very reserved. They don't really want to open up, and man, by like day two, now they're talking to me, and then day three, they're talking to all the vets, because I think the most powerful thing that we have at these events that we do is like a burn pit, fire pit, whatever you want to call it, man. Somewhere where we can burn some wood, um, you know, sit and talk and just lay it on the line. Because there's not your circle that you have that you can talk to a lot of times is not always going to be that big. So your aperture is very small of people that you're even willing to talk to. So our and one thing that I'm really proud to say, man, is everybody that has something to do with combat marine outdoors, with moving it forward. You're talking me, Arturo, Rudy, and we have 12 team leaders. Um, we're all we're all disabled veterans, right? So, and I want to say 90 to 95% are combat veterans. So if you're in the army, you got the combat badge, you got the combat action ribbon, for the Marines. Dudes that have, and I'm not saying that that's a qualifying metric to come in. But
Yeah.
what I am saying, but what I am saying is for a lot of guys, when they hear that, they want to open up, and I think where the true healing is, man, and where you get to see it is when you see these guys 6 months down the road. And I'll give you a quick example. I took a guy out to Port Mansfield to go fish. We took him out deep sea fishing, and we take him bait fishing. So this trip was phenomenal. I mean, the fishing in South Texas is it's so damn good. It's the greatest. Well, so we do that, and then we took him out to go hunt a ram. And when I saw him the first time to the second time, night and day difference. Night and day difference. I mean, and his circumstances had changed too. Like he didn't lose his job. He changed his job. Like he left his job. He wanted to go and work somewhere else. And God, he was so much more positive. He was happy. And I was like, man, this is good. He goes, man, he goes, I don't forget, he said, Al, he goes, if I get to do this once a year, he goes, that's like really just recharging my battery enough just so that, when I get through life, I'm a little bit happier. And I was like, man, I said, I couldn't have put it a better way, buddy. That's awesome. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So to answer your question, I say yes.
Yeah. And I think it's just, that burn pit is a therapy in itself. But sharing that with your brothers, because, there's a lot of power behind connecting with people that have been there and done that. When you mention a combat action badge or a combat ribbon or whatever it may be, I understand what you're saying about that, because now those people understand what you're talking about. They've been through it too. And I think there's a ton of power behind that. And I think that's a lot of the reason why when most military members get out and they've seen combat, I think that's why we're having a problem with what we're having a problem with the 22 a day, is because they isolate, because nobody understands what they've went through and seen. So I think that what you guys are doing down there is amazing, and you're changing people's lives for the better, and that's amazing, man. What's your next event that is coming up, Al?
Um, that's a good question. So our next event, so we have an exotic hunt going on in Sonora, Texas. So if you think of Sonora, um, man, it's some rough terrain getting there. Our ATV that we have, so we have two ATVs that we use, or not AT, they're UTVs, they're Polaris. They get beat the hell out there, man. I mean, these guys run them hard, and when I'm having to pay the bill to repair them, I'm like, hey, can you just be a little bit easier on these,
Slow down a little bit.
please? Yeah, so we have that, and we also have a what we call a cast and blast that we're going to be doing in Medina, Texas. We're going to shoot birds, um, and then we're going to go fish, or vice versa. So if there's two teams, one team will fish first and then shoot. But we like to get, I love getting, groups of like 4 and 5 together, because again, it helps these guys just really open up. Um,
Yeah,
so we have that, and we have again, we have fishing going on in Seadrift, Texas. I'm not sure if you ever heard of Seadrift.
I haven't.
I'm a Texas boy, man. I had never heard of Seadrift, but the very first time I went fishing with Common Marine Outdoors, I went to Seadrift, Texas, and got a good captain out there. His name's Buzz, Buzzy. He goes either Buzzy or Buzz. Great American. He's a veteran himself, and the only thing with Buzz that stresses me out, like whenever, because I'm supposed to go fish over there. I wanted to take my son out there, and I wanted to pay Buzz, and he's like, "No, Al, I'm not going to let you pay." I'm like, "Ah, we'll talk about that when I get there." But
Yeah.
they're great Americans out there, and the fishing is just phenomenal. I mean, the red drums that we get out there, just big reds. And it's really fun for the veterans. You just get to see them fight a red. It gets a little tiring at time. They're
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I smashed that one," and then they get their second red. They're like, "Oh, okay, now I'm getting tired." But it's a good time. So, and then after that, when we lean into April we'll do some Louisiana fishing, and the more exotic hunts. So for some of these, just to give you some context to what I mentioned earlier. Our program is yes, it's highly nested in Texas, right? We are Texas boys, but we do hunts in Mexico. Arturo's going to Argentina.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
gosh, don't I'm forgetting the darn date, but but he's going to Argentina, which is a phenomenal hunt. And we might be working an Africa hunt. We go to Mexico. There's some big whitetail in Mexico, is what Art tells me. I've never hunted in Mexico, so I can't speak from experience.
Yeah.
But we do a lot of hunting in Florida, Montana. We're trying to get into Wyoming right now. So, anyways, what I'm trying to say is we're all around the nation. But what's even better than that is Rudy, our director of operations. He's flying guys into Texas, so it's not just Texas boys that
Wow.
get to experience this. Yeah. So, my last event that I did, where was I with Werda? So I met Werda I did a nilgai hunt with him in the King Ranch. You ever see those big Ford trucks, the King Ranch,
Yeah.
and it has that little logo? Well,
Yep.
that's synonymous with the King Ranch in Texas. A
Oh, wow.
ginormous ranch, huge ranch. They have these antelopes that are called nilgai. And if you've never seen a nilgai, man, one
Huh.
time I was driving a UTV, and he didn't see me, I didn't see him, but he scared the living, what out of me, man.
Yeah.
So he gets up and he just takes off running, boom, and it was like a bat out of hell, man. I mean, he was gone, and I was like a mythical creature, bro. Like, he's just gone, and I was like, wow. So, anyways, we hunted those in the King Ranch, and I met Werda there, and he's from Michigan. Oh, that's right. Okay, so we hunted with Werda in Michigan, and then that next year, which was last year, I was running the Port Mansfield fishing, and Werda was there. And I was like, "Hey, what's up, brother?" And it was really cool because I have ties to Michigan. I lived in Michigan for 7 years of my life. The one thing I don't miss is the snow, but I miss the people, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool. Is like we're flying guys in from out of state to come and experience it. That the picture that I sent you earlier, all those guys. So there was 4 guys there. Only one was from Texas. So 3 flew in, and it was pretty damn cool. So
That's amazing that you guys are going out of your way to open this up to more people than just Texas. That's incredible, because I know for myself, I've never, even though like hunting around Ohio is big, and I grew up in a country city, but I've never been hunting, and I've been fishing just a few times. I mostly just played sports and didn't hunt or fish. Never had somebody teach me how to do it, right? Um, but it's something that would be, I could see being therapeutic, definitely. What one question that I have is, and I ask this of all my nonprofits, if you could give a piece of advice out there to a nonprofit that you have experienced and learned from, what would that piece of advice be?
Okay. It would be twofold. Uh, I think the first portion of the advice is that you have to wholeheartedly believe in what you're doing. Um, whether it's outdoor adventures, whether it's counseling, whether it's, some guys they give a monetary, money to a veteran. Maybe it's a veteran who needs a car. I just met a guy recently that needed a car, needed all the above. When I called him, man, he was in disarray, right? And at the end of the day, all he needed was counseling, right? Like
Yeah.
I talked to him for 45 minutes and he goes, "This is what I needed. Now I have a plan of attack of what I'm gonna do." But it's number one is believing in what you do, right? And then number two is it's gonna be just a round bullet point, but it's accountability. If you're not held accountable, you're not gonna make it very far. All right. And accountability goes in multiple patterns, right? Accountability on what we are doing internally, accountability on how you are going out and getting money. Because as a nonprofit, obviously nonprofit, so you're not for profit. So we're having to go and find great Americans that are just willing to donate to our cause. And we're also going out and trying to get grants, that are willing to donate to our cause. But that accountability, if you're not holding yourself accountable, you're not going to last very long. You're just not. So
Yeah, and you're 100% correct. It's interesting that you mentioned this, is that the accountability, but then you also said something about how expensive it does get, how expensive these trips are. And what I didn't know is some of these nonprofits, when they start out, they're swiping their own credit cards. They're spending their own hard-earned money to get this up off the ground to where they can provide what they think is necessary for the veteran, which I didn't even know that. So yeah,
so it's funny that you mentioned that because Art was telling me about the early days when they would go out and when they needed ammunition. Because one thing that I had to mention to him is that, like, so, and I'll give you an example. On our last hunt, I had one veteran that was like, "Hey," he's like, "Al, I don't have any type of hunting gear. It's like I can't afford that stuff." And he had, you don't have to bring a rifle, but if you have one, it's pretty cool when you can shoot your own gun. Um, but he also didn't have any rifle, no ammunition, so he shot my rifle. Um, but I had to take him out and get him a shirt and some trousers and stuff that's gonna look like he's gonna play the part, when we're in the outdoors. So one thing I didn't mention is soup to nuts, start to finish. That one introductory dinner that we have together, everything's paid for. So 99% of the time, there's really nothing the
yeah,
veteran has to pay for.
that's amazing.
Especially it's Yeah, especially if he's in need, man. Like I always tell them, like, hey, if there's anything you need, just let me know. And I've never had anybody get out of hand with it. We might stop at the store, and I'm putting diesel in the truck, and you might not want to get down. I'm like, no, get down. Whatever you get, just put it on my card, and they'll go, and everybody loves monsters, right? Monsters and chips and whatever it is, beef jerky. But there you go, right? There you go.
Addicted to him,
Going
buddy.
strong. Going strong. Yeah. But
I go ahead.
I can appreciate that, and I hold that close to my heart, man. Is that when you come, you're not going out of pocket, and that accountability piece is we're gonna do it the right way. So
It's incredible, and I love the way you guys are doing things down there. And the big thing is when I interview these nonprofits like Combat Marine Outdoors, I don't know a whole lot about them before I do the interviews with them, which I actually like because I'm learning about your organization as we're talking, right? That's the way I like doing things, because it kind of makes it better for me, to be honest with you, right? Two more questions for you out, and this kind of goes away from the nonprofits. This goes more towards the veterans, right? We've both seen combat. We've both been in that downrange. If you could give a piece of advice to a veteran out there, which you work with, there at Combat Marine Outdoors, if you could give a piece of advice to a veteran out there that's struggling with maybe PTSD or depression or anything like that, what would that piece of advice be?
So, man, that's such a good question. So, and I'm going to tell you what my advice is every time I give it out, because I've given this out a lot of times. My first piece of advice is that if you are, I need you to stop, drinking too much. A lot of times when guys come to me and they're struggling, they're battling, I'm asking, how much are you drinking? And they're like, drinking every day. And it's not like a beer or two. It's to get hammered. And well, that's strike one, buddy. You got to stop that, man.
Yeah.
And I, something as trivial as this, I'll tell guys like, hey, save that for the weekend. The weekend's Friday and Saturday. Okay.
Yep.
You drink those days. Like, don't be drinking every day, man. And then the second piece of advice is pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and call somebody, talk to somebody, or get out of your house. And I'm going to share this one piece of advice with you. One time I was, or not piece of advice, I'm going to share this one story with you. I was selling raffle tickets at a huge dove hunt that we do. And I had this little girl, man. She was shaking guys down for money. She was like 11 years old. And she's like, Mr. Al, I need your Cash App and your Venmo. And I'm like, okay, here's, I gave her a paper, and I said, they just got to take a picture of that. And she was shaking guys down. And I said, hey, look, I said, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to like shake them down. And she goes, no, I want to. She goes, I love you guys. I'm like, really? I said, okay, cool. I said, thank you. And when she came back, I was like, why do you love us so much? That you're doing this. I mean, she was, dude, hardest worker I've had. Hardest. And she looked at me in my eyes and she says, because you gave me my dad back. And yeah, so it was deep, man.
Man.
It was deep. And she said that her dad hadn't come out of the house for years. He was a hermit. And I was like, well, where's your dad? She goes, oh, he's right there. And he was out there dove hunting, shooting shotguns. And she goes, ever since he met you all, my life has just been, it's been changed. And I was like, wow, man,
That'll get you, buddy.
Man, choked up, man. Yeah, I was choked up, and I was like, wow, man, like that. This is why we do it. This is why we do it. For something that I don't even know how. I wish I could quantify that. I wish I could say dragging him out to go fishing or to go hunt some type of animal or to go to a concert. But I think above all, it was the camaraderie.
That
being able to have brothers next to you, so
you hit the nail on the head, Al, because what I found out with the platform that I'm doing now is I think the biggest thing is connecting with your brothers, connecting to people that understand other veterans and the brotherhood, right? The camaraderie, actually, like you were saying. I think that's healing. I've had one guy on here, and I've mentioned it a few times, but he's somebody that I served with, and I started the Operation Intel as just doing interviews of veterans and how life was overseas, and then when they came back, what struggles they've been through. And he told me, he said, I've done more healing in the last, and at the time it was 3 months, more healing in the last 3 months than I've done in 20 years. And what do you say to that? Because I think we went into it earlier where God just puts you in a certain spot at a certain time and you're blessed. And that's the way that I felt when I heard that. And above all else, I think it's the brotherhood, getting us back together and hanging out with each other. We're better together. And I've always said that. No matter Marine, Air Force, Army, we can all make fun of each other, have a good time, and when that happens, I think wounds heal. I think that's what happens.
Yeah. And I'm gonna pray that our organization can stay strong for years and years to come, because art's really our lifeblood of this organization. Like he's the pulse, man. And we talked, because art, myself and Rudy, we're not getting any younger, and that's the one shitty thing about time, is you're never gonna get it back.
Yeah.
But we talked about, like, how we're gonna sustain this even beyond us. And if we do it this way, we're doing it the right way, because we're helping vets, man. We're getting guys back to their fighting form, because your fighting form starts up here, man. You have to have a strong mind, and all we can do is keep trying. We can't let it go. We can't slow it down for any reason. That's the one shocking thing about a nonprofit, and that's another piece of advice that I would give to any other nonprofit, is this is turn and burn. You're going 100 miles an hour, and there's no off season. You don't ever stop, because
Yeah.
you always need money, and your cause never stops. There's never going to be a time where 22 a day isn't going to be a thing. My buddy runs 92 for 22, right? Like, and he is always talking about suicide, and how, what we could do to minimize it. And my thing is, the mind is one of the most fascinating things that's out there.
Yeah.
And I wish we had an answer, but you know what? If you give forth the effort to do your part in it, and this is our part. This is what I'm doing. Your part is having this platform that, hopefully, what I'm hoping is some veteran watches this podcast and is like, "Hop at Marine Outdoors," and he remembers this. Go to my website and go to the top right, click on join now, fill out that form, and we're gonna call you. Rudy's gonna give you a call, and we'll get you on a fishing trip or a hunt or something. And a lot of times we're not gonna start with a hunt. We want to make sure we have a relationship with guys. We might start you out with a fishing
Yeah.
trip first, and because when you can say you do this, like Wardo, he's a perfect example. He's done it once a year. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Joe Alvarez, God rest his soul, man. Joe Alvarez, my very first hunt I did it with Joe. And then I went duck hunting, I did it with Joe. The funny thing, I used to call Joe Big Joe, because my dad's name is Joe. My dad's a Vietnam veteran. He's got a Purple Heart. My dad's the reason I became a Marine. Like, and he was in the Army. And when
Yeah.
I came home with the Army recruiter, my dad talked to him or whatever. And when he left, he told me, he's like, "Hey, son," he's like, "Look, I got drafted into the Army." He goes, "Bud, if you really want to be a badass," he goes, "go talk to the Marines." I was like, "The Marines?" So I did that. So my dad's name is Joe. Joe Alvarez, obviously, his name was Joe. They were both born in April. Joe was born one day after my dad, and they both went to
Wow.
Vietnam. Joe Alvarez was an amputee. So I must have done in 3 years. Well, actually four, because the first year I wasn't part of the program. Um, I had done maybe 5 or 6 hunts with Joe Alvarez. And on my last hunt, man, in Port Mansfield, he wasn't gonna come. He had stage 4, I think it was pancreatic cancer.
Oh,
And I called him, and I said, "Big Joe," I said, "you don't have to come, man." And he goes, "No." He goes, "Al," he goes, "if this is gonna be one of my last events, I would love for it to be on the water with you guys." And I was like, "Man, it would be my honor, brother." And I have a
yeah.
video of Joe talking to the veteran, because I had 12 veterans there, and Joe was talking to him, and he was conveying, like, what Combat Marine Outdoors had done for him. And man, on the inside, it was tearing me up, because Joe, I would tell you this, before the whole Bud Light debacle, even after the Bud Light debacle, Joe was always a Bud Light guy, always a Bud Light guy. And that day, I had 3 other Vietnam veterans with him, and Cruiser was like, "Hey, Al," he goes, "Joe's not feeling very well." I said, "Well, let's get him rest, man. Let's really focus on his rest, so that when it's time to fish, he'll go fish or whatever." And he went. He was on my boat. He fished. He caught. And when we came back, he goes, "Al," he goes, "Can you please get me a Bud Light?" I said, "I'll get you a Bud Light, Joe." I went to the store. I got him a Bud Light, and he had a Bud Light, even though it was against doctor's orders. But uh, man, I tell you, 3 weeks later, Joe passed away, and it tore me up, because that's the other thing. Doing this, like it's almost like being a jarhead all over again. Like you make all these relationships, you meet all these great individuals, man, and it's sad when you have to see some of them go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially a guy like Joe. Joe was such a strong individual, man, and I know he's out there, man, but he was one of the great ones, and I appreciated everything he did for me, because my first fishing trip, he was there, and he was really like coaching me up on like how he loved combat marine outdoors, and
But Al,
yeah,
one thing that I can say, you know, he gave you a lot, but for somebody to say, I don't know how much longer I have, but I want to be with you guys, that should tell you how much you guys and what you guys are doing down there meant to him. Because, I mean, stage 4, I don't see you being or having very much energy. And for him to want to go out there and spend that time with you guys, I mean, man, there's not a better honor. There isn't. And it should make you guys extremely, extremely proud and happy about what you guys are doing. And to be honest with you, I'm honored to have you guys on this show right now, because it sounds to me like you guys are doing amazing things down there. Can you tell the people if they want to get a hold of you guys? I know you said it before, but go to your Facebook page if they want to be a part of the hunts, or if they want to donate, because that's how you guys get all these veterans to these hunts, is by donations. So if they want to be a part of it,
absolutely.
how do they do it? And if they want to donate, how do they do that as well?
Absolutely. So if you want to be part of a Combat Marine Outdoors event, you want to join our program, it's super simple. We try to modernize it. If you go to our website, it's www.combatmarineoutdoors.org. And on the very top right, it'll say join now. And you click on that, it's going to take you to a little form. You fill that form out. It is going to ask you for a DD214. Please submit a DD214. That's the most important verifying information that we have, because these benefits are for such a niche group of guys and women, that we want to make sure, we're Rudy does a wonderful job vetting everybody. I'm going to tell you, that's the one that, if there's one thing that he just does exceptional, it's the vetting process, because we have to vet guys the right way.
Yeah.
You do that, you click on that, you join. Give Rudy a couple months, he'll get to you. Sometimes he'll get to you right away. It just really depends on our battle rhythm. Right now we're kicking up with the hunting season coming up, so he might slow down a little bit. But for those that want to give in that same manner, you can go to www.combatmarineoutdoors.org. There'll be several donate now buttons. If you can click on that and donate, but the rest assured that if you do that, the one benefit that you have out of donating is, number one, you're going to donate out the kindness of your heart to an organization that's going to do the best with your money. Combat Marine Outdoors, out of every dollar, 95 cents goes towards veterans. So we only have 5 cents goes towards running the operation. So you have myself, you have Rudy, you have Arturo, you have 12 team leaders that are gonna be out there to make sure every event is done the right way. You have everything that's being paid for. That's It don't get much better than that. If you look up nonprofits, some people call it an AFR rate, some people call it an admin rate. I'm gonna tell you, 95 cents of every dollar goes towards veterans. It just doesn't get much better than that. So
No, it
when
doesn't.
you give, you can give with a clean with a clear heart. So
Yeah. So if you guys want to donate to what they're doing down there, it's another great nonprofit. But you guys are doing amazing things, Al, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I know the schedule was kind of thrown off a little bit. We both were like, okay, we got to figure this out. But again, man, not only thank you for coming on the show, but thanks for what you're doing down there. to help out other veterans. I think when we come together as a community with what you're doing, a platform to put it on, I think we can lower that number of 22. I don't think we'll ever get rid of it, but I think we can reduce it by coming together and collaborating and really putting the veteran first.
Absolutely. 100%.
All right, brother. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks a lot, Sam. Hopefully we'll get you out in the water, man.
Oh, boy. Have a good one.
All right, brother.
I hope you guys enjoyed that interview with Al. These are some of the pictures he was referring to that he had sent me. I think that weapon there in the background is the weapon that he was talking about. He was really fun to talk to. I liked him a lot, and I've liked everybody that I've talked to and gotten to know. Let's see here. Yeah, we're done. Okay. Hope everyone caught that. Division new. Sorry, I was looking at a comment from the YouTube page. You know, these nonprofits are working their butts off every single day. And one of the things that I found interesting was, you know, the marketing and stuff like that. Kind of what Michelle was saying last night. They have to come out of pocket for marketing and stuff along those lines. And I love the fact that they can get on a platform like this and come straight to a targeted audience that is veterans. I love that. Al was a really good guy. What they're doing down there in Texas is changing lives. Lion said that story, and I think it was Crouch too, said it was a great story. And Lion said that it brought a tear to his eye. It brought one to mine too, to be honest with you. Anytime you can not only help a veteran, but when you make an impact on that veteran's life and his or her family as well, man, there's no better feeling. And a lot of these nonprofits have the same exact mission that we do, and that's to make veterans feel like they're not alone and try to fix the problems that have existed for 20 some years now. And I think we're doing a good job. And here's the other thing, right? And we don't exclude these guys at all. By no means am I saying we exclude them. This platform is made for not only the veterans in Iraq and Afghanistan and the Coast Guard. We've had a lot of different faces on this channel. But I don't want to forget the guys that came before us as well, because these Vietnam vets, and you've heard it said 1,000 times at this point, they are the sole reason that we did not get treated the way that they did. And if it wasn't for them carving that path for me and you, who knows what kind of a situation. This situation could be a lot worse. It could be. But because of those Vietnam vets, we don't have to endure that, and thank God for them. But the question is what are we going to do for the ones after us? And I think that's the main takeaway from all this, is what can we do to make sure this doesn't happen anymore and it ends with us? That's the big question, right? One thing I did want to show you guys, and last night if you were watching the show, And many of you know that I have my kids here on Thursday nights and Friday nights when I do the show, and they just leave on Sunday nights. They're a huge part of what I'm doing. And they love each and every one of you guys that have gotten to meet them and talk to them. And I think that they've seen a difference in me as well and seen a passion come out of this. But I've talked about every single one of you guys and why we're doing this. And a lot of you have, like I said, met them and stuff. And my youngest last night wasn't listening. You know, not all kids can listen. But it's our job as parents to correct them when they're wrong, right? And she popped her head up into the stream, which I never want to show my kids on stream. But it happened, and we learned from it, and I talked to her about it. So while that video was playing, yeah, a big thank you to Dennis Leonard, by the way, before I forget. If you don't know Dennis Leonard, he is all about these outdoor events. He's the one who brought Combat Marine Outdoors to us, and I knew it. There's certain people they're in my group. If they say, you know, hey, this would be a good one, there's no need to vet these guys a lot of the times, because if these guys in this community are saying this is a good, you should showcase them. I'm not even going to question it. And another good nonprofit, and that's brought to you by the people of this community. That wasn't found by me. So thank you, Leonard. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you again whenever you travel through Ohio, which I know you're all the time on the go. But so while we were watching the video along with you guys, because my youngest was in here with me talking to me, she wanted to draw you guys a picture for Valentine's Day, and she asked me if I would show it to you guys on air, and I definitely am going to do that because, well, you know, it makes her proud. But she loves you guys. I teach her about that. I teach all my kids about appreciating veterans, and we live right next to an Air Force base, and you know, it's cute to me because every time they see somebody in uniform, they always make sure to stop them and thank them for their service. It doesn't matter if they're, it doesn't matter where it is. They know the veterans' hats as well, so they'll go up to them and thank them for their service, which as somebody that was in active duty, it always, you know, touched me when a kid said it. And I was like, dang, that's really good parenting. If I ever become a parent, that's what I'm going to do, because it does make you feel good when a child comes up to you and says, thank you for your service. So I want to show you guys the picture that she drew for you guys. Okay. And you better say it's a good picture. No, I'm kidding, guys. This is the picture she drew for you guys. It says love from Maddie, and it's a little army tank there with an army guy. She wanted me to make sure that you knew that guy right there is Crouch, and they nicknamed him Sour Crouch. But she wanted me to show that to you guys. They love you guys. They love, you know, talking to you and me talking about you. So wanted to share that with you guys. Thanks, Jesse. I appreciate that. Jesse Fox is one of my good friends from high school. You know, if you see her in the chat room, and I'll actually, you know what? If you guys remember on the rally point, I had wished a little boy a happy birthday. That is her son, Crew, which he absolutely loves the military. But if you see Jesse Fox in the comments, you know, she is probably one of my best friends, and it's been that way since, you know, high school. And she has been there through my cousin passing away, losing a lot of people in my life. And she, no matter what part of her life she was in, she always made it a point to make sure that I was okay. And those kind of friends are hard to come by. So big shout out to her, because she has helped me out a ton, and the kids absolutely love her as well. Listen, guys, if you guys want to make a donation to Combat Marine Outdoors, I linked the website in the chat. I definitely go support them as well. Remember, tomorrow night, I am not going to be airing anything. It's my time with the kids. We do Saturday night movie nights here. And then Sunday night, we will be back with the Rally Point, which I love the Rally Point. But I'm glad. Yeah, she can tell you some really good stories. No, Nick, you don't need to hear any good stories about me. None. Oh, no. See, this is what makes the stream end early, guys. Early. I'm so glad that she said something at the very end of this. But, you know, it has been eye-opening for me doing this series, and it has given me a whole new passion. Actually, I was I was invited to the national convention here in Columbus, Ohio, for the Blue Star Mothers, and I'm really excited about that. The public speaking thing, I don't know if I'll be doing that or not. Hopefully, you know, if they want me to, I'll definitely do it. That's a little nerve-wracking, right? It's a little bit outside my comfort zone, but we'll make it happen. Listen, guys, I love each and every one of you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for sharing everything. You guys mean the world to me. I'm glad that you guys love what we're doing here. And I say we because it's not just me. So remember, I will not be live tomorrow night. There are no nonprofits tomorrow night. I will be back live on Sunday with the Rally Point, and we will have fun. So you guys have a great Friday night. You guys have a great Saturday night. Happy Valentine's Day to those that are celebrating Valentine's Day. Me, I don't have to buy anything. Nothing. I may buy myself be my own Valentine, right? But that made my daughter laugh. But anyways, I love you guys. I hope to see you guys on the Rally Point, and I will talk to you then. Good night, guys.
Real heroes, real stories, real impact.